So until now we have set up PostgreSQL on our local machine, and also we have seen a lot of theory, and it's time for us to get into action where we can set up um, where we can start coding and set up the project. So let's take a look at how we are going to set up this stack, where we are using two folders, one for API and another for UI. So all the front-end code goes under UI, and we are using CreateReactApp for it. And for the API, we are using Nodejs and ExpressJS framework, and all the API goes under API folder. So let's get started. So the first thing what we need to do is we just need to create a folder. You can name this folder anything, but I'm going to name this as PERN stack example. And once the folder is created, we can import that folder into VSCode. Let's import it. And first thing what we need to do is we need to create two folders, one for front-end, one for back-end. So I'm going to create folders called UI and API. So let's open terminal and create two folders. Okay, now folders are created. Let's get into API. Let's change the directory to API, and let's start the Node.js project with npm init. So when you hit npm init, it asks you bunch of questions where you have to give like what is the project name, what is the version, and also Git repository, the description. There are so many questions that it asks. Let's give all these questions answers, and finally you need to confirm all these answers and hit yes, so that it creates package.json with all these answers. So now it created package.json, so with all the answers given. So let's open package.json and confirm. Like, you need to expand API folder so that you can see package.json under API. Okay, so yeah, all the answers that is given, so you can see all those here, and our index.js is the main file, so you need to create index.js. Yep. Let's add some code here and see how we can run Node.js project as an example. So I'm going to put some console log statement, and also I'm going to add some function and run this file, so that we know how to run Node.js file with the package.json, and we will get familiar how to run Node.js project with this exercise. So let's do this exercise. So I just added console log statement, and I'm going to add function as well. It's a simple function. It just take two parameters and return addition of those two parameters. So there are two ways that you can run this file. One is you can just do node and the file name. With that, it runs the code. Whatever the code you have written, it runs the code, and you can see the result as well. And the another way is you can just add npm script to the scripts section of package.json, so that whenever you do npm start, it runs this script, which is node index.js, and in turn it runs the code in that file. Okay, we have seen how to run Node.js project, and let's create a React project. So before that, what we need to do is we just need to install CreateReactApp globally. So let's do that. I think before running this command, you need to install CreateReactApp globally. So let's do that. So it is asking install that first. So as you can see here, you need to do npm install -g CreateReactApp. So that installs that particular CLI globally. Yep, that is installed. And now let's run this command so that it creates the whole React application under UI folder. So the CLI creates all the skeleton for you. You don't have to create an initial skeleton for your React application. So it creates bunch of files, and it also creates the starting component. So when you run this, when you run the React application, you can see the whole React application running on the browser as well. So let's wait for it to create. Yep, it's done. You can actually see there are a bunch of files created under UI folder. And you can just switch to directory to UI and run the command called npm start. You can see all the files under source folder as well. When you open package.json, you can see the scripts. So the start script will actually use React scripts start, which runs the React application on port 3000. So let's change the folder first. So switch to UI and then run npm start. Now the React app compiled successfully and it is running on port 3000. So copy that and put it in the browser so that you can see the React component. So this is how you set up your React project initially, and you can see the first component as well. If you change something here, it will the Webpack dev server updates that automatically in the browser. You don't have to restart. So now let's go back to API folder and start Express. So let's delete all these and let's open a new terminal and go to API folder. And let's remove the sample code. Since we are building API, we need to use express.js. So first we need to install Express. Let's install Express. Since it's a production dependency, it gets added to dependency object. So we are using Express version 4.18.2. So we're going to delete all this from the index.js and go to getting started hello world example page, where copy the first two lines where we are importing the Express from node modules, and we are assigning the Express to the object, to the variable called app, and also we are declaring a constant port. So once the express is assigned to the app, you can just define a path, and also with get method, and the get method takes as a function as a second parameter. That function is a request. That function has input parameters where request and response, and you can send whatever the response you want to send to the with the help of response object. So we can get into all these details later, but for now let's create a server with the listen command, with the listen method, where it takes the port and also a function. So right now the function doesn't do anything, it just prints the console statement where exactly API server is running, which port this API Express server is running on. So we are using the port 3080, so let's change the port 3080, and you can see Express API listening on port 3080. Now if you go to the browser and hit localhost 3080, and you can see this is the line that we are sending with the help of response object. And that is how you maintain and set up the PERN stack, where we are maintaining two folders, one for frontend, another for backend, and we are maintaining two terminals, and we are running all frontend and backend on separate ports as well. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.